Welcome to a New Life podcast with Pamela Jean, where it's all about empowering women to empower more women. Get ready, friends, to create a new life. And here is your host, Pamela Jean.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to this week's episode of A New Life podcast. This is Pamela Jean. I'm so happy to have you here. I want you to know how much I appreciate you spending your precious time listening to this podcast. I know there are a zillion other things you could be listening to, and I just really appreciate the fact that you have come here and you are spending your time with me. So thank you so much for being a listener. If you have any friends that you think would enjoy this podcast, please share the podcast. I would love to grow the audience. The more people that we can reach, the more people we can impact, the more lives we can change. And that honestly is the whole purpose of this podcast, is connecting with this beautiful community and audience, and hopefully changing your life and inspiring you to live the life of your dreams, creating balance and balance with your life and balance with your career or your business. It's so very important. Today's topic is one that I think everyone listening can identify with. It's all about making a big decision. We all have opportunities that come our way, and big decisions will have to be made. And how do you make a big decision? What is a strategy in making a decision that is not emotionally charged, but it is a decision that's been made out of logic and not emotions? Have you ever made a decision that was emotionally charged? I know I have, and I can tell you 100% of the time, if I made a decision based on my emotions, 100% of the time, it was not a good decision. Because our emotions play tricks on us. Our emotions make us think that we know what we're doing, but we really don't, because all logic just goes out the front door, and you don't even think logically about making decisions. We make decisions off of emotion, and we will get the results of that, which typically is not good. Now, following your passion is following your passion is amazing, but you just can't make decisions from that emotionally charged place. Like, for instance, if you are angry about something, if you've just had a fight with your spouse or whatever, and you go make a decision out of anger, that's not going to be a good decision or a choice. It's just not. Or if you're sad or feeling guilty or grieving, you don't make big decisions when you're in unstable emotional states. So your decisions cannot come from the side of your emotional brain, that right brain, that romantic side of your brain. That's where you just let, the fairy tales live. Making big decisions really needs to come from the left side of your brain, the logical side of your brain. So anytime you are needing to make a big life decision or big business decision, it's a good idea to analyze the impact the decision will have on your life or on your business. So make sure that you're in a place where you have no distractions, where you can just focus logically on the impacts of the pros and cons, basically. If you say yes to a decision, there's going to be something else you'll have to say no to. So in the space of this worksheet that I have here, I have you write down the positive things about the yes and the negative things that will ensue because of the yes in the no column. So it's like the pros and the cons of making this big decision. For instance, if you're making a big business decision right now, are you making a decision about growing and leveling up your business? Okay, so the pro is business growth. That's a positive thing, right? The con might be more time away from family. Now, even though the time away from family might be temporary. Maybe it's just for, 6 to 9 months until you get the big business growth in momentum and kind of getting that inertia going so it's working on its own. Maybe that is like, okay, it's a temporary con, but it will be a 6 to 9 month thing where, mom's going to be working more, dad's going to be working more. That's part of the business growth. Another pro is business growth is going to bring a more financially rich life. I've always been a believer that the more abundance that you have, the more abundance I have, the more abundantly I can give. I don't see money as being a negative thing that, you should, if you're a Christian, you shouldn't, have a lot of money. I don't agree with that. Money is not the problem. The love of money is the problem. When the money is the idol, that's the problem. But if you have abundance, financial abundance, the freedom that you have to give abundantly is out of this world. Now, that doesn't mean that, someone may argue with me, and that's totally fine to have a different perspective. But my perspective is you can be a loving, giving Christian human being no matter what your financial statement looks like. But if you're in a position to have great abundance financially, that means I can abundantly give. And that's a beautiful thing. I get to decide where the money goes. Who can I impact? Is it, I'm a sucker for all of the homeless animals. I look at social media and cry daily about knowing that, 6 dogs are going to be euthanized today at this one shelter because they have no room for them. Someday I want to be able to change that. I don't want that to be that way. And people that are coming out of being sex trafficked and abused, I want to help that person. I want to help them heal. I can help with financial abundance. I can help abundantly. So having abundance and having money is not a bad thing. It's the love of the money and it's the idolizing of the money and spending it unwisely that is the problem. So, the pro is we're going to grow the business and a benefit is going to be financial growth, but along with financial growth comes responsibility. And again, time away from the kids, time away from the family. Is it worth it? Is it forever? Is it a small amount of time? You have to analyze that. Maybe you're making a big life decision. Maybe you're in the middle of a really, really difficult marriage and you just don't know if you should stay in the marriage or if you should leave the marriage. That cannot be done in an emotional, charged rant or rage. If you have just had a disagreement or a fight with your spouse, that's not the time to make the decision whether to stay in the marriage or leave the marriage. That decision needs to come from a place of logic and get some counseling on it. Get a coach to help you walk through that. It's not something that you can make a decision out of anger, because I've never had a decision made out of anger that was a good decision. They fail. It fails every time. If you can make a decision calm and rational with your senses about you, completely coming from a place of logic, you can make a good decision coming from that space. So as you proceed with this exercise, writing down the pros and cons, the yeses and the nos of the big decisions, your choice in your decision is going to show itself to you naturally. You'll look at that and go, okay, here are all the pros for making this choice and this decision. Here are all of the cons. What aligns with me morally and ethically? What aligns with my balance in my life? If I say yes to this, make this move, make this decision, make this choice, will it throw off my moral compass? Will it not align with my ethics? Will it hurt my family? Will it hurt my time with my children? How can I balance that back together? When you make your decisions from this space, They're still going to be hard. The decision making is going to be difficult, but you'll be able to set up a safety net around everything that potentially is a con and be aware of the things that might happen, potentially could happen if you make this big decision. One might be you want to take a job out of state and move your entire family. You need to look at things like, you want to move somewhere near the beach. That's where you have a job opportunity. But if you live somewhere where your cost of living is really, really low, moving to somewhere near a beach probably is going to be a lot more expensive cost of living. You might be getting paid more, but cost of living goes up. So really, it's a lateral move. It's lateral. Moving your children. Maybe you have a sophomore in high school, and that's a tough, I don't really know of any age that's easy to move once kids get into school, but sophomore in high school, gosh, your kids have established those long, deep-rooted friendships, and they want to graduate with their friends in a few years. That's a pro and a con of, yes, there's some great business growth, or career growth, financial growth, live by the beach, whatever sounds, romantic and fun, but to the detriment of that sophomore in high school. And, let's be honest, if you talk to people that lived by the beach, that always grew up, 2 minutes from the beach, I would really like to know, honestly, how often do they go there? What beauty is in your backyard, exactly where you live right now, that you don't appreciate? That you just become immune to it because it's there all the time. And as someone coming into your community for a visit, they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. But you've become immune to it. It's become like, oh yeah, it's okay. I go to the beach, maybe once a month. Well, I'd like to say that if I lived by the beach, I'd go there every day. But when I go to the beach, it's on vacation. That's my whole purpose, is to be on vacation there. If I were working a full-time job, it might look a lot different. I might only go once a week, maybe once a month, and then you get sand everywhere and you're sick of cleaning up sand, so then you just don't go at all. I don't know what that would look like, but those are questions you need to ask yourself. Is it a good decision? And what are the cons? And who will take the hit? Who will take the hit because of a big decision that you want to make? So, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this. We all are faced with making big decisions in our lives. And if you can make the decision solely from a place of logic, not from a place filled with emotions, you will get the best possible results. I do have a worksheet for you. If you want to download that, I will leave a link for you. Reach out to me at pamelajean.anewlife@gmail.com. Send me an email and I will get this to you. Also, you can hit my website, pamelajean.com, click on the podcast link, and I will have a link to this worksheet there as well, because I, friends, want you to make the best decisions of your life and not regret a decision that you made that was an emotionally charged decision and not one that was charged with logic and discernment, and also listening to what God has for your life. He ultimately has the plan anyway, and it's just our job to follow and understand His plan and trust Him, and absolutely trust Him. My friends, I hope your day is amazing. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I appreciate you, I value you, and we will talk soon.
Thank you for joining us today on A New Life podcast. We will see you next time.